Okay, so if you are lucky enough to have access to a springboard or a tower, some springs, let me show you a few things you can do to help you out in the stomach series. So in Pilates, we use springs that act almost as a second set of muscles, which you don't have just yet. So not only do they help you to give extra strength in the movements that you're doing, but they also provide some feedback directly into the muscles. So it very much becomes this experience of what you feel while you're doing it. And you can take that experience back to the mat without having the springs and really see if you can get that same sensation of what the spring is doing in your body. So what I have here on my springboard is two very light arm springs. So they're not that heavy. I have it set up about halfway on the length of the springboard, or if you have a tower, you could do that. You can also adjust the height of the spring to whatever strength you need. So the rule of thumb for this particular exercise would be the higher up you put the spring, the more supportive or the more helpful it's going to be because the spring is stronger. But if you feel yourself struggling against the spring, it may be more useful for you to take the spring lower 1 or 2 notches. So this is really something you have to play a little bit with and find the sweet spot for yourself. So for me, I'm going to try out this setting. So remember the roll back that we did with the hands behind the legs. In this case, you don't need your hands behind your legs because the spring is going to help you. I'm going to curl my tailbone under, and the spring is really helping me find that movement between each of the vertebrae in my spine, and much easier to go down with that. So you can actually also play with the spring helping to pick you up in this position. I'm still using core here, but what I really love about the added strength of the spring is that it's actually giving me the opportunity to stretch my spine out a little bit more. So there's a little bit more space in between each vertebrae. I can stay in each position a tiny bit longer to get more of that stomach and that core activation. Okay, so let's go down into it and we'll start with our stomach series. So the first one, the single leg stretch, we're going to pull the knees into the chest. See if you can do this without affecting anything in the lower back. And now because my arms are attached to the springs, the spring is actually quite helpful here to help pull my upper body up. Now, be careful. Notice what happens when you do this. If you allow the spring to pull you up, but you come up like this, teaser territory, this is not what we want. We want the spring to just be supportive enough to pull yourself up as far as this, just below the shoulder blades. We still want those to touch the mat. And so in this position, I'm going to push down into the spring. The spring is helping me lift up. And then we're going to do the single leg stretch here. And let me know how it goes. What do you notice here? How does the neck feel? How does the stomach feel? And we'll take a quick breather. Now coming up into the double leg stretch. Of course, we can't do the fancy choreography with the arms because our arms are connected to the springs here. But still, you can take the legs away from you, bring them back in. Now for this one, what I'm particularly noticing with myself is that the spring has a tendency to kind of want to pull me up, which I don't want. The spring is too strong for me here. So I'm actually going to lower the spring down a tiny bit, which will be a little bit harder on the core, but a little bit better on the back. And so, yeah, this is much better. So you can see me pressing down into the spring. The spring is helping me to stay up, and I can stretch my legs away from me. We have 3 more to go. So the lower double leg lower lift, rolling up, still pressing my arms into the spring, lowering the legs away from me, bringing it back. And this one, I feel the spring is particularly helpful in just helping me stay up. A modification for a lot of these exercises, if you're finding it hard to stay up with the legs, is just to bring your legs back down and even just roll up just the upper body with the spring. That can really be helpful in this situation. And then we're going to do the scissors. So in this position, we're just going to switch the legs. Easier is to keep the head down, more difficult is to roll the head up and scissor the legs. Now for this one particularly, actually it's a little bit harder for me than the one on the mat because I'm not using my arms here. I really have to rely on just the core affecting this movement. And then our last movement of the series, which is the crisscross. It's going to be tiny because your arms are fixed, but you're basically just going to lift the shoulder to the opposite knee and still get that twist through the body, still pressing into the spring. Very good. And so that is your stomach series with springs, with the purpose of the spring helping your upper body come up and stay up.